Welcome to the finale of the Extreme Food Makeover Challenge. This is pretty awesome. So this has been going on for a while. I'm your host, Charles Denny. I'm in a mostly deserted Morgan Hall in Knoxville, but Janie and Kristen are sometimes here as well. Today we have two finalists, Regina and Amy. They have stood the test of our expert judges through 5 challenges they've gone through. They've developed recipes that are healthy, nutritious, and fun to make. They've also made sure that food safety was in order to create the best dishes for their families. Now, first, let me introduce all the FCS agents in Middle Tennessee who've been part of this. From Davidson County, Elizabeth Sanders. In Nashville, home of Nashville and the Grand Ole Opry, and the 3-0 Tennessee Titans and the Nashville Predators. From Robertson County, Lauren Patterson, home of Darkfire Tobacco and the Bell Witch. I've been to the Bell Witch Cave twice, both times doing TV stories, both times microphones didn't work in the Bell Witch Cave. And my daughter gave me a Bell Witch t-shirt not too long ago. From Smith County, Mary Draper, home of Nobel Prize winners Al Gore and Cordell Hull. Let me offer my own connection there. Al Gore's grandmother on his maternal side was a Denny. And I met Al Gore a couple of times as a reporter, and I told him, I said, you know, my name's Denny, I'm from Lebanon, blah, blah, blah. He said, well, my grandmother was named Denny, and she lived right there. It's not clear if he and I are distant cousins. Some people say we are, some people say we may not be. I don't know if I can get the former vice president to take a DNA test, but he and I may be cousins. Don't tell all the Trumpsters who are my friends on Facebook. And from Wilson County, Shelley Barnes, home of Cracker Barrel and the Wilson County Fair, and home of me, my hometown of Lebanon. And I'm approaching, I'm class of 81 at Lebanon High School, so 40 years almost now. So anyway, thank you to all you FCS agents who work so hard to make this possible. These agents have worked hard to create a challenge that focuses on nutrition, stretching food dollars, food safety, and fun. So virtual applause for our FCS agents. Very good. And our expert judges. Here in Morgan Hall with me, Janie Burney is a professor with UT Extension in the Department of Family and Consumer Sciences. Her specialties include human nutrition and consumer food safety, including home food preservation. And Kristen Johnson, Dr. Kristen Johnson, also professor with Extension in the Department of Family and Consumer Sciences. Her specialties include nutrition, aging, and worksite wellness. Now, our judges have had the hard task of weekly eliminations. They've scrutinized every aspect of the recipes. They made sure that contestants did the following. They used the weekly theme accurately. They incorporated proper food safety techniques and cooking temperatures if necessary. They created their own recipes and shared photos that showcase their prepared recipes. So let's take a moment to hear from Janie and Kristen about how they did this, how you guys went about this, and tell us what were some of the challenges you faced here.
Well,
Janie,
I'll start with the
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I can start with the challenges. You all are very creative, and sometimes it was very difficult, you know, to tease things out. And I just want to applaud you on all your great efforts, because all the recipes were wonderful. And so it wasn't always easy, was it, Kristen?
No, there's a lot of creativity, some recipes that sounded really fabulous, and it was really a pleasure to get to see all of them.
But basically, I think we focused on a couple of what we considered important criteria. Since we're educators, we just felt compelled to do it this way. And one was, you know, was the recipe true to the intent of the challenge? You know, for example, if you were asked to develop a recipe that was lower in saturated fat, were you able to create a dish that was a healthy alternative to a higher fat version of the recipe? Or if you were asked to create a dish with less sugar, what creative ways did you use to accomplish this? And for us, this was how you demonstrated your creative culinary skills. And then, of course, as a food safety specialist, I can't forget the food safety part. And we also looked to see if you followed safe food handling recommendations. For example, as Charles said, did you use correct temperatures for your safe internal temperatures for your foods, if that applied, or what other food safety steps did you take? I think, Kristen, that was primarily what we looked at. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I think you covered it all. Thank you.
Yeah, and for both of you, maybe talk about this. For people who know me personally, I'm a type 1 diabetic and have been for many years, over 30 years. So whenever I see a recipe, one of the first questions I have is if it calls for brown sugar or whatever, can you use sugar substitutes or things like that? And many times, y'all can address this more than me, but you can make really delicious, creative desserts or dishes with substituting a few things, right? Janie, can you answer that? Are you muted?
Well, yes, I think you can for a lot of things. It might be more difficult for some things, like if you're making fudge for Christmas or whatever. But most time you can come up with alternatives, using fresh fruit instead of using a lot of sugar. I know you've heard of cakes made with applesauce and things like that. So some ways to reduce your carbohydrate intake. Kristen, did you want to add anything?
I was actually going to add the fresh fruit piece and substituting in that way to get some of those natural sugars in place of some of the added sugars. I know that's something that some of the contestants here have really been great at doing throughout this challenge.
I know just from my personal experience, sometimes sugar is what is needed to hold foods together, that sugar-free cookies will crumble very easily and things like that. But other than that, many times, the taste, I don't see much difference a lot of times. So, well, great, y'all. Well, thank you so much for serving as the judges here. So let's meet our two challengers. First up, Amy Phillips is from Smith County, and Regina McCawthorn is a resident of Wilson County. Both of them are on here. Let's start, Amy, let's start with you. What have you learned from doing this competition, the Extreme Food Makeover Challenge? What have you learned from this experience?
I think that I have learned, it's a refresher course for me in the lowering of the saturated fats, the trans fats, and also other ways to replace sugar in recipes. In my household, we deal with a couple of health issues, and so there have been some substitutions I've been making for a long time, but I even found better ways, more ways, probably healthier ways. I'm a type 2 diabetic. And that was something, not only did I try to meet the challenge that the contest required, but I also tried to remember my own diet limitations, and it helped me learn better ways to approach it.
And you had to, find new creative ways. I mean, this competition kind of challenged you to kind of think beyond what you might normally make.
It was definitely a challenge. And that was the fun part for me, was first deciding what recipe will I recreate, and then the how. That was the hard part, but it was a great challenge. And I, especially say making a barbecue sauce. I think that we all know barbecue sauces have a sweet base most of the time. And making a good barbecue sauce without sugar, that's hard. And I wanted to minimize my use of artificial sweeteners as well. So that's where I put in some fruits, a small amount of honey. So definitely I had to get more creative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned, well, it's been said to me many times that, I'm not muted, there we are, that if we all pretended we were diabetic and just ate that way, that would be a smart way of going about life. You just have to be aware of that, don't you?
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, Regina. Regina actually was I did a story a few months ago about the Mask of Love, and Regina was one of the FCE members making masks. So, and Amy, were you involved in that? Let me check with you about that.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, gotcha. Regina was, that was just an awesome effort, I thought, by extension, just making thousands of face masks for everybody. Regina, talk about being part of this challenge. It sounds like it was a lot of fun. What did you learn from it? What did you get from it?
I had a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my husband learned more than I did. We was actually teaching each other. He's a diabetic also, and my father's a diabetic. So whatever I made, I had to call my father, and I was telling him, okay, tell my brother stop by here and pick this up so you can try this. And we just had a ball. I've learned so many more different things by looking up some stuff because I've been creating healthy foods for him, and we do a lot of fruit and stuff, and this just made it fun for me to be able to pull up new recipes and then just challenge my own self with the ideas. And my husband say, oh Lord, what are you feeding me today? We just enjoyed it. We had fun. We just had fun. And he said, well, try this and you got this. But the fun thing about it was mostly everything was here at my house. I could go out there to the garden and pick what I needed to get. So, I'm just been used to cooking healthy and watching our proteins and different things like that. It was just a fun thing. I just enjoyed it. I like cooking.
Well, I was about to ask you guys, both of you, what are your favorite foods to cook? Regina, why don't you go first?
Grilling. I love to just grill. Yeah, I got where as far as the fried foods and stuff, we cut that out a long time ago. And I just like grilling. I love to work with the meats. I like that.
Amy, what about you? What do you like cooking? What's fun for you?
I really like working with side dishes more. Like I love making the dressing at Thanksgiving and things like that, especially when I have more time to put into something like that. And this challenge honestly taught me that it really does not take that much more time to put together a fresh dish as opposed to putting together something out of a box.
Yeah, good deal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, are you two ready to share your dishes with us? So we're going to go first with Amy. Amy, tell us what you prepared. And this is a dessert. What makes this your favorite dessert? I'm getting ahead here, all these questions. How do you incorporate food safety? How did you increase fiber? Tell us about this dessert you made.
All right. Well, sure. I chose to make a triple berry cobbler recipe that I frequently take to church get-togethers. It's a favorite of some of my church friends and family. It's also something I make because it is something I've been able to make fairly low sugar. So having to increase the fiber added a new challenge for me. And it was really my first experience with whole wheat flour and unbleached flour. And I actually learned what goes into bleaching flour and how it's really not necessary to consume that. And so the whole wheat flour is what I ultimately used. I also added some oats to the recipe, and I was concerned what that might do to the texture. They're undetectable in the recipe. They softened right up and added some extra fiber. And then in my research, I learned that raspberries have really far more fiber than any other fruit. So when I typically use equal portions of berries in my 4 cups of berries, I actually put in 2 cups of raspberries to 2 cups of the raspberry, blueberry, blackberry blend. So I increased the proportion of the raspberries in my recipe to do that. Food safety, of course, I talked about, this is more of just a safety issue, but really just taking foods in and out of your oven properly and not getting burned, using knives properly, chopping some of the toppings that I used, not using a knife too small, getting cut, making sure your blades are sharp, those things so that you makes the job quicker and hopefully you won't get hurt in the kitchen.
Yeah, and so the 3 berries, the triples, are raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries, correct?
Yes.
Wow, I can't think of, those are 3 of my favorite fruits. So you're able to incorporate all three of them, and that sounds amazing.
I did. So typically when I make that for church, I also do dark cherries. So if you ever try the recipe, just toss in some dark cherries too. But I was really trying to do the fiber challenge, so I really focused on those raspberries.
Well, that sounds awesome. So, and you got ice cream and pistachios mixed in with it.
Yes, the pistachios also added some fiber also, and they tasted really good with the recipe. Normally I would not put nuts on a cobbler and ice cream recipe, but it was actually really good. And if you chop them up, more finely, you don't have too much of that crunchy texture.
Good deal. All right, Amy. Well, that sounds delicious. That's amazing. I made a point, by the way, I'm here in the Eastern time zone, that I ate lunch before this thing so I wouldn't get too hungry. But anyway, all right, Regina, you're next. Tell us what you prepared for us. What makes this your favorite dessert? Food safety. How did you increase fiber in this? Regina, what did you make for us?
I made the Greek yogurt cheesecake, Greek yogurt berry cheesecake. I had to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I learned about it is I had to do my research and check out all my different fibers as on my berries, because we just eat berries just to be eating berries. And again, I had my blueberries and blackberries here, and so I wanted to, make it look a little pretty and have a little color to it. And I like using Greek yogurt. So with the Greek yogurt and the low-fat instant pudding, believe it or not, I don't eat cheesecake. My family loves cheesecake. And so with my husband being the diabetic, and he's got to have that little sweetness. So with my fibers and everything, I use the oatmeal, and I use applesauce when it comes to baking and stuff like that. So I made my crust for my cheesecake, and I mixed my Greek yogurt with the low-fat pudding. And then again, I'm like Amy, I use those same 3 berries. And instead of putting all my berries on top of it, the cream cheese, I put FCE. I had to put a little things on it. And I put me some little mint leaves. And so, but it was just getting the fibers and your raspberry, the fibers, the oatmeal. And I use Greek yogurt, so that's a everyday thing. So it was just putting it all together and seeing what comes out. So I enjoyed doing that.
And would the Greek yogurt be considered a little healthier than other types? I know it's kind of the texture is different.
It is. Yes, it is. And that's what we like doing that. And I just like mixing fresh berries in my Greek yogurt. Mm-hmm. Whenever we just eat Greek yogurt, I love to put just different kinds of berries in there and just eat it like that. I have my nieces and I don't have grandchildren, but I have my nieces and nephews eating Greek yogurt. And my sisters them tell me all the time, don't tell them Greek yogurt. They act like that's something special. But it makes it really good. It's real healthy choice.
Now, for both of you ladies, did you, these are recipes that y'all essentially invented, but were they based on things you tried in the past, things maybe you'd seen your grandmother do? Where'd you get the idea, I guess, is my question.
Like this extreme food challenge. It was a challenge, just trying to challenge to think of something to do. And I'm just thinking, I said, okay, because I do this yogurt and other things. And so I just thought putting that pudding in there, and that's where mine come from. My grandmama and them didn't have Greek yogurt, I don't think so. But that was it. It's just putting it all together. Being around my grandmother, we had pudding and sauce and all that good stuff. So, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, in the emails we received, it did say to take something you love and recreate it. Mm-hmm. And right. Again, cobbler's my go-to. It's what I take to family get-togethers almost every weekend and to the church get-togethers. So yes, I did take my cobbler recipe, but I even made it, more healthy with the fiber and lowering the sugar some more.
Mm-hmm. How, this is called a challenge, an extreme makeover challenge. How challenging is it to do something like this? I mean, for somebody like me, I tend to, and I like cooking. I try my best. I grill a lot of things, but rarely do I take any, like Amy Elizer, say, oh, you can do this, you can make this. and I'm like, oh, Amy, that's got too many ingredients. I'll mess it up. But how, could you pass this recipe on to me, and you think I could pull it off to a degree?
Yeah.
Doable? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that sounds incredible that y'all have invented these things that just sound really delicious. So I think you guys should just really be proud of this. It sounds like you come up with just delicious foods that people can really enjoy. You gonna do these at Thanksgiving, you think?
Yeah, I think I'll do mine before Thanksgiving. The next time I take a cobbler down to my family, I'm going to take them the whole wheat variety.
Yeah.
Put notes in there.
Yeah, actually, yeah, my little brother, he was saying that he wanted some more of that cheesecake. I'm like, okay, this is a challenge, y'all. So, but yeah.
Do y'all think that, we've seen like TV shows where chefs are challenged to come up with something new? It's just not recreating favorites of the past, how to make veal parmesan or something like that. You have to come up with something new. Is this kind of the future of cooking, that, it's kind of like sky's the limit, our imaginations, it's only limited by our imaginations, that people can just do this kind of thing? They can invent new ways to prepare foods. What do you think about that, Regina? That's kind of a vague question, but yeah.
No, it's not a vague question. Most definitely, because I would love to see chefs and just people, homemakers and stuff, making new recipes and just doing different things and doing a lot more healthier things.
Yeah, and I think too, Amy, I don't know if you have children but I think, my kids are 26 and 23. And my son was a food science major here on the ag campus, and now works for Chairman Foods in Nashville. So he has always had an interest in, just cooking amazing things. And also he has an interest in just exploring the restaurants of Nashville. He won't go to chain restaurants, no way. But he knows every restaurant, Thai food and all this stuff in Nashville. So, but I think their generation, and some of you agents are pretty young too, we need to encourage them, I think, to be that way. Already we know millennials don't like chain restaurants and are kind of putting them out of business. And so, you see what I'm saying? I think we need to encourage that generation to do exactly what y'all are doing. Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that. And not just from that standpoint, but also from the health standpoint. Ever since my husband and I developed health conditions, it's been in the front of my mind that my son needs to avoid those if he can. And healthy eating is one way to make that possible. And I do agree, new techniques and new ways to make recipes. It's a good thing. One of my favorite newer tools for me is an air fryer. And it's unbelievable what you can do in an air fryer, as opposed to 3 inches deep of, hot fat on the stove. So I love my air fryer. My next personal challenge is to recreate fried chicken that everyone will want more than their original.
That's a worthy cause, I think, right there. If you need somebody to test it out, I'm good. All right, well, Regina and Amy, anything else y'all would like to add? It's great having y'all here. Great seeing you.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. As far as on our food safety, I just like to pinpoint that my nieces and nephews, I was teaching them different things, and they was like, oh, I didn't know we could clean with stuff like that. And they was really amazed at watching me on some of the things, because my nephew, he's 7, and he said, hey, Gigi, you keep wiping that down. You keep washing that. Why are you doing that? He loves to garden, and I think that's our favorite nephew. So we have him over here doing a lot of things. And I was just telling him about the food safety, and he was just really amazed. And he's 7 years old, and I told him, always wash your vegetables, your fruits and stuff like that. my sister said, I want you to know my son washes his baked potato and sets it in water for about 5 minutes. But he just he didn't understand that. And I just wish too on the food safety that it gets out there to the public, everybody a lot more, because that's very, very critical. That is. That's all I have, but I had fun and I enjoyed being with you, Amy, during this all of this, and thank everybody, and thank you, Charles.
Well, you're welcome. Yeah, and you brought up something I think important there. Some of my favorite stories I've done over the years have involved 4-Hers and cooking, and I think you see there. I mean, I'm an old guy, and I feel a sense of accomplishment when I make something that tastes good, you know, and I think that's a great thing for kids to see. You can do this. You can create something like that. So,
could I also add something? I wanted to tell Regina also that I've enjoyed being in this competition with her, and it's good to actually meet today. So I know who I've been working with.
Yeah.
And, yes.
Yes.
And I also want to thank all of you for hosting the competition. It actually has allowed me to do something I've always wished I could do. I love watching cooking shows, especially the challenge shows. And I would never join one. They use ingredients I've never heard of. So like Regina said, she was able to go out and use things she knows, you know, creatively. And so it allowed me to do something I never would have been able to do otherwise. And that's why I really wanted to do it.
Well, thank you. And I've enjoyed working with you and finally got to put a face with the name. And
I will need your cheesecake recipe.
okay, yes, ma'am. I want to get all of yours. So we'll have to email each other.
Sounds fine to me.
All right. Okay.
Elizabeth, do you want to tell them what you're working on as far as the recipes? We are going to share those. So
Yes. So whenever we do the grand finale and submit and showcase the video on Facebook, we're also going to release all the recipes that were the winners from week to week. So we just have to get those last 2 recipes up, and then you all will have those, and you'll be able to either print those off or store them onto your phone so that you can use those at a later date, because they've been so great. We would be remorse if we didn't share those. So I'm really, really excited to release those to you all and the public as well.
yeah, Amy, can you tell us about your dessert? Introduce it.
Yes, this is my triple berry cobbler with vanilla ice cream and chopped pistachios. And let's see if you can see it there without it falling off the plate. I just added the ice cream. So there you go. Let's see. Can you see that? There you go.
Beautiful. Looks
Thank
nice. Regina, can you show yours to the camera?
Okay, you ready? Greek oatmeal berry cheesecake with mint leaves. I had to run out here and pick some more right quick. Okay, if I got it right, there you go. That looks better now. Okay.
Well, my only regret is that I can't have a slice of each one. But, you know, I could be there in a couple of hours. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just in Lebanon a few days ago. Too bad I couldn't do it in person. Thank you all both. That's really, those look amazing. So, all right, everybody, thanks for participating in the Extreme Food Makeover. Our next challenge will be the Maintain, Don't Gain Holiday Challenge, Healthy Holiday Challenge. So registration's open now. Contact your extension office to be part of that. I know we've done that for a couple of years in a row, and maybe this year, more so than ever, it might be really, really important to do that. So, all right, y'all, thanks so much.
I'll just say I was excited to be a part of it this year. This is our first time doing a challenge like this, so it was challenging for the participants, and it was also challenging for us too, creating it as a new program, but it's been really fun, and I've looked forward each week just seeing what the submissions are. They all look really delicious, and I wish we could do these in person so we could taste all of them because they look great, and it's been just fun to see it all come together and see everyone participating in it. So I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was one thing I thought of. I know we were down to the final 2. How many people participated in this all total in what, 4 or 5 counties?
We had 4 counties. Shelley, what was the original number?
I think we had about 21 register, and then I think we had about 9 that started off the contest. And so it actually worked really well because it was, the numbers were easy to figure out on how to eliminate. And another thing that I was going to say as well is that, we've had to adjust in our counties based on what's happened this year with COVID and trying to be safe in our meetings. And the challenges that we've done, because we've done other ones besides this one, as well as the one coming up, have been really interesting for participants. And being able to, work with Dr. Johnson and Dr. Burney and making sure, that the challenges that we're working on are educational and they are hitting, the information that we're wanting to give out to the public in our other programs, I think is really important, and just having that support. And so I do think that we're going to see a lot more of this in the future. I think that even when we can get back to what normal looks like, we're going to have to offer some type of hybrid model because people are excited to be able to do things at their own pace. That was what was really unique about this. We sent the emails out on Thursday. They had their instructions. They had all weekend to do what they wanted to do all of their research, figure out what their recipe was going to look like, and then they had to submit it on Monday. And so it really gives participants kind of that leeway and that time to do things on their own, but then they're also held accountable for deadlines and dates as well. So it's been an awesome partnership with the specialist and the county agents, and I'm really thankful for everybody.
Yeah, Mary and Elizabeth, do y'all want to add anything else?
Yeah, I liked that it was multidisciplinary, so not just focused on nutrition and food safety, but in those emails we also included how you can save money at the grocery store and things like that, because I'm always looking for tips to save money. I don't know about you all, but I like that we included that, and I just love seeing everybody's creativity at work.
Hmm.
I echo everything that my colleagues said, and I've been so impressed with all the submissions and the point that Regina made about how much your nephew learned just from being in the kitchen with you. Those are the things that we don't always, or we're not always able to report on, but have such a lasting impact. So thank you all for including your families in on these recipes and sharing them with all of us. So we really appreciate you, and we congratulate you on all of your hard work.
Yeah, really good point, Elizabeth. And it's been said that the best place to get the family together is around the dining room table. But before that, you could get them together in the kitchen and help them prepare. Everybody takes part in preparing what goes on the dining room table. So good stuff, guys. Thank you so much. Shelley, anything else we need to do? This was fun.
I don't think so, but I want to thank you, Charles, and thank you, Dr. Burney, and thank you, Dr. Johnson. Y'all have been a great asset to us, and most importantly, thank you, Regina, and thank you, Amy. Y'all just did so great. We're so proud of y'all.